Hey everyone, Ryan here, or MandRproductions, and 2021 is fast approaching, which means we will probably very soon be seeing pictures and official information about the 2021, at least for the January, February, March wave of sets very, very soon. Now, the release on that is not quite clear to me yet. It might be January 1st for all of the sets. It probably isn't, though, given the leaked catalog that we've seen, but it seems like it's actually going to be a split release with 3 or 4 sets releasing in the first wave and 3 or 4 sets releasing in the second, like, mini wave for January, February, March, that timetable. I'm not exactly sure what's releasing exactly when yet, but obviously subscribe and stay tuned for more info on that. Anyhow, I thought now would be a great time to make a video kind of rounding up all of the rumors. We have more information actually on minifigures we're going to be getting in some of the sets, as well as some light speculation closer to the end of the video for farther off in the years. First setup is the Millennium Falcon Microfighter. I've talked about it a lot, so I don't really feel like I have much to say, but it's of course coming with that Han Solo, 101 pieces and $10. Based on the information given the leaked catalog that we have, it is going to be one of the first wave sets launching. So I know it's kind of confusing, but basically for the January wave, there are 2 waves. So there are going to be 3 or 4 sets coming out in January or February, and then there will be 3 or 4 sets coming out in February or March. And the Millennium Falcon Microfighter is in the first one of those. So that's coming out. Now, something that's kind of been a point of contention for a few people, it's not something that's talked about a lot because it is a microfighter, but set 75296 is supposed to be, or was supposed to be, the opposing microfighter to the Millennium Falcon Microfighter. And because it's not in the retail catalog, I am very much led to believe it is canceled. I have also not heard anything from Lego Bob 35 on it, so as far as I'm concerned, that one just doesn't exist. But if it did exist, since the Millennium Falcon is based off Episode 5, it seems, it would probably be an Episode 5 set, which would leave it being either the Slave 1 or maybe a TIE Bomber, but more likely a Slave 1. Now, set 75297 is going to be part of the second wave of sets coming out in the first 3 months, and that is the 4+ Resistance X-Wing with 92 pieces at $20. I don't have much to say about this one. I'm not even exactly sure what the figures are. I think like BB-8 is probably going to come in this one, and maybe Poe Dameron or Resistance Pilot, but I don't know enough about that set to really talk about it a lot. So yeah, that set's coming, but it's not an important one that I think a lot of people care to know a lot about. Set 75298 is also part of the second mini wave, and it is the AT-AT versus TaunTaun Microfighters. This is another one that we pretty much know everything we could need to know about. You've even seen it leaked in the catalogs. The AT-AT looks like a maybe better version of the previous Microfighter AT-AT, but it's still a Microfighter AT-AT, so it's going to look weird nonetheless. The TaunTaun, some people think looks cute, some people think looks terrible. That's pretty run-of-the-mill for these brick-built Microfighter characters. I think it looks just fine, but obviously I would prefer a molded one if I was using it for like a mock or something. I just think that that's going to be the way it's going to go. But you get the Hoth Luke, and you get an AT-AT driver. I don't think you could really ask for much more. Now, set 75299 may be the only set a lot of people buy from this wave because it is the only set from the Mandalorian Season 2, and with all the remakes, a lot of people may just be abstaining from buying those sets. Now, this set is going to cost $30 in the United States for 276 pieces. It is apparently titled Encounter on Tatooine, or some variation thereof, and it includes 3 figures. It includes Baby Yoda, or the child. It includes finally, Beskar armor Mandalorian. Thank God. If they had skipped out on this again, I think we would have had riots on our hands. Thankfully, they actually did a good thing with this Mandalorian figure here, and they've upgraded him to Beskar armor. I have no idea what that's going to look like exactly in Lego, but hopefully better than the one that we've been running with. And then the third figure, which is honestly disappointing, is a Tuscan Raider. Now, the Tuscan Raider makes sense in the context of the set, because the set is going to include a Tuscan Raider tent with campfire, which is kind of a scene that we had in that first episode of Season 2 of The Mandalorian, so that works. And it's also going to include a ballista, which is basically like the giant crossbow thing that they use in the episode, so that's actually a kind of neat thing to have included. And on top of that, we're going to get the Mandalorian speeder bike, which is something that should be able to hold Baby Yoda in a little pouch off to the side. I'm just assuming there. That's not like a confirmed feature for the set. It seems like a pretty sensible set, but I can't help but feel it's missing Cobb Vanth and the Cobb Vanth speeder. I really feel like this set by Brick Wizard 59 is a much better representation of what I honestly thought this set would end up being like, with Cobb Vanth Speeder and Mandalorian Speeder. Now, the Tuscan Raider tent isn't a bad thing. I like that. It's the first time we ever had it in Lego. However, I really, really, really wish we had Cobb Vanth with that Boba Fett armor and that speeder in this set. I just think it would have made a ton of sense. A lot of people would have really jumped for it. And I honestly think they could have bumped the price on this up $10 to $40, included Cobb Vanth and the speeder, and it's an even better set. It's a real shame they didn't, but that's where we're at with this set. So even the best set of the wave is rather disappointing, probably still to some. Moving along, though, set number 75300, of course, is the TIE Fighter with 432 pieces. We do now know the minifigures for this set, though. It's a $40 set, and it's going to include 3 figures. The set itself doesn't look that great, but I guess it's passable for most people, but that's kind of besides the point right now. The TIE Pilot, of course, that was, basically a lock for a TIE Fighter. It's also going to include a Stormtrooper. I mean, fine. And then it's also, like, the new figure for the set is going to be the Ra7 Protocol Droid. I believe we've had this figure in the Death Star before. However, the leaked images do show that it's got a little bit more colorful wiring print, so it is a slightly different and technically new minifigure, even though we have seen the character before in Lego. Now, a set that I believe does bring something new to the table is set 75301 with the X-Wing Starfighter, 474 pieces for $50. We've known that for a while. The X-Wing looks fine. We've seen the images of it. It's basically like the summer 2018 version. Some people even looked at it and were like, wait, that's the same thing. It's not the same thing. It is really scaled down, a little skinnier, and that's fine. That makes sense for the reduced price point. But the figures for the set we now know are going to be Luke Skywalker, obviously probably going to be the pilot Luke, R2-D2, very obvious, and then it's going to have Leia, which I believe will be either the same or similar Leia from the Tanta V4, although it could be different, but I believe that's what it's going for. And then we're also going to get General Dodonna, who is from Episode 4, A New Hope, I believe, and he is a figure that we have never seen before in Lego Star Wars, so that would be kind of the minifigure draw for that $50 set. I'm sure some of you guys watching this right now are like, oh, now I have to buy the X-Wing because I love that guy. I honestly didn't know his name, but apparently he's going to be coming in this set for the $50, so that's nice, I guess, to get something new there versus the same old with a TIE Fighter, basically, with a Stormtrooper, TIE Pilot, and Protocol Droid. So I feel like the X-Wing provides some more compelling minifigure selection out of those two sets with the TIE and the X-Wing. Now, of course, some people, after seeing the Mandalorian episode, were like, oh, maybe it'll have the Dave Filoni pilot. No, it won't. It's just another original trilogy X-Wing. I've been really hard on this the entire time. Everyone keeps bringing me these theories, and I'm like, no, guys, it's an original trilogy X-Wing and an original trilogy TIE Fighter. They are not Mandalorian tie-ins with Moff Gideon and Dave Filoni figures, unfortunately, as awesome as that would be, and as timely and sensible and like things that make sense, Lego doesn't do. So yeah, you can basically cross those off the list. These are going to be just tried and true original trilogy TIE Fighter and X-Wing. Speaking of tried and true original trilogy, we have a Imperial Shuttle coming out as well. I've talked about how I don't love the design of this one. It's not terrible. It's going to be fine for the $70 or $80 with 589 pieces. Like, it somehow looks decent. It's a little bit blockier than older models, and I'm a little bit worried about the chin area, like up underneath the cockpit. That's something I'm going to have to check out when I finally get the set to review or see the official images, because right now that preliminary image just isn't looking too great. We unfortunately don't know the minifigures for this set. However, we can make a very educated guess that it's going to have 5 or more minifigures, given that at $40 the TIE Fighter has 3 minifigs. At $50, the X-Wing has 4 minifigs, and so we can infer that the Imperial Shuttle at $70 or $80 is going to have 5 or 6 minifigs. Now, I have seen some theories that it could be based off the Clone Wars, but even if this set was based off the Clone Wars, it's still an original trilogy Imperial Shuttle, because it's going to include Darth Vader and Stormtroopers and Snowtroopers. It's not like you're going to get Ahsoka or 332nd Troopers. I mean, maybe Lego does something weird and funky, but I just can't see it happening given the layout of the rest of the sets being original trilogy. It just wouldn't make a lot of sense to have an Imperial Shuttle that's technically Clone Wars. I just don't see that happening. So while maybe you could give it like a 2% chance, that's what I would say, I just don't see it happening. Now, moving into the April wave, I'm going to kind of skim over these because I think I have more important information to talk about. We have a Scout Trooper helmet, a Darth Vader helmet, and we have another helmet set. I'm not sure what it is. I don't remember if it was rumored or not, but I definitely don't have it written down. So we have 3 helmet sets coming out next year. I just don't remember what the third is. Comment below if I'm just forgetting for whatever reason. And we also have a probe droid as one of the buildable characters. All of those will cost between like $50 and $70, but that's not for here and now. I think a much more interesting aspect is that there seem to be 2 UCS sets on this first half rumor list. There is UCS Set 75303 at $200, which should be coming out May 4th, or It could be coming out earlier or later. I don't know. Like, sometimes UCS set numbers come out of order. And then there's UCS set number 75308 at $250. So this presents an odd conundrum, right? We're supposed to be getting the gunship, which I would be shocked if it wasn't one of these two. And then there's supposed to be another UCS set that's some type of vehicle, and it's possible that one of these UCS sets gets moved to 2022 to make room for the gunship or vice versa. I'm not exactly sure which is going to be which at this point. But if we look at the recent history of LEGO Star Wars, everything would point to there being some sort of large LEGO UCS set coming in the second half of year, because in 2017 we got the Falcon, 2019 we got the Star Destroyer, in 2018 we got Cloud City, in 2020 we got Mos Eisley. So you would think in late 2021 we would get a very big UCS set that wouldn't cost $200 or $250, but more likely replace something like the Death Star, which is actually retiring very soon. So I have nothing concrete on this yet. Lego Bob 35 is doing his magic right now. We'll probably have more in about 6 months. It's going to be a while probably before we know exactly what the UCS situation is for 2021, but I just think there are some very interesting things at play here. So I think there's either 3 UCS sets in 2021, or I think that one of these sets, either 75303 or 75308, is going to be moved into 2022, either being the gunship because they couldn't get it done in time, or the other UCS set that was ready in case the gunship wasn't done in time. So it's going to be one or the other, I think. It's just been a while since 2 UCS sets 250 and under have come out in the same year. Now, there have been some other things floating around on the internet. I've seen in some like Lego Star Wars promo videos that they put out, they actually removed the burn marks from Obi-Wan. Now, does this mean they'll remove the burn marks from the set? No, but it's worth noting that at least someone somewhere cares enough. So that's nice to know. Now, something else that I think is kind of fun to just speculate on, just for the hell of it, is that in this ad that I got the other day, and it's actually an ad that's been out for a while, but I hadn't gotten it yet, so I wasn't able to get proper screenshots, but it's only in 480p, which was a bit of a shame, but it's an ad for Lego Star Wars in general, but also kind of a tie-in with the video game. You see them go from the physical model of the AT-AT to this animated model, and this weird thing of Luke Skywalker with a winky face. I don't like that. But this animated model that very much looks like it could be a ginormous UCS model that would fit right in the $700, $800, $900 range as a second half year mega set. Now, it's entirely possible this is just something made for the Lego Star Wars game, and it's very likely, but that doesn't mean that it couldn't also be a Lego Star Wars set, because that is basically something they would have to engineer to make sense in the game, because they basically make things in the game that you could potentially actually build out of real Lego. So I'm not saying this is going to be a UCS AT-AT. I'm just saying it's worth thinking about, that they could have finally cracked the code on building a UCS AT-AT for the future. I think that it could be somewhat near. Now, there's also an image of a UCS Death Star. I took screenshots of this, and I forget exactly what it's from, but this is more tiled off, I think, than an actual Lego set would be. But I think given that the Death Star is retiring, a new Death Star could certainly happen, because the Death Star is something Lego would want to keep out it as much as possible, and they're obviously not going to re-release that playset one again. So I think a paneled Death Star at obviously the 18 plus age rating would make a lot of sense in the future. So UCS Death Star and AT-AT I think are on the table. There aren't any rumors of that, but I just think given these two pictures, I think it's worth thinking about that someone somewhere within Lego has designed something that could potentially work as a set in the future. So one more thing, we potentially have a summer 2021 Imperial Star Destroyer image. So if we look at what we've been seeing for the first half year of 2021, we basically see a soft reboot of Lego Star Wars, where we're getting these downsized versions of ships. Now, Lego released a promotional video thing showing off a bunch of sets for holiday stuff, and in this video they showed an Imperial Star Destroyer, and the Imperial Star Destroyer looks oddly small. And so I went and looked at the 2014 one, because that's obviously what they would model something like this after if they were going to do it. And the 2014 one does look similar. I can't tell if it's exactly the same, because it's hard with the angle difference, and I don't have mine personally built. I mean, the bridge is certainly different design, although it shares some similar aspects, and certainly the paneling is somewhat similar. It's just really hard for me to tell whether or not these are the same set or not, with some small minor changes just for the animation. Now, like I said, there are some similar design aspects that I see lining up from set to set, but I, again, think it's worth talking about the possibility for Star Destroyer in the summer of 2021, especially given this odd soft reboot of the theme anyway. I think a Star Destroyer would make sense to go with some of these other sets in a smaller scale at $100, $110 maybe. So that's it for this very long rumor and speculation video. This basically gets all the rumors and information that you're going to need for the January, February, March stuff, other than the exact release dates and some of the figures for some of the sets. Obviously, the pictures should be coming very soon. That's kind of why I did this video now. I don't know when they're going to be coming. But last year, my video for the picture reveal was on November 19th, 2019. So we are very quickly coming up on that in 2020. So we could be less than 10 days away from pictures. We could be longer, given that some of the release dates are slightly delayed on some of these sets. It's just really hard to know right now. So let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments section below. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you enjoyed the video, please like and turn on notifications so you don't miss more 2021 and beyond information. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace out.